Hello, everybody. This is Violet, and I want to share with you a big myth. So the myth is that time heals all wounds, but the truth is that skill heals all wounds. So you can imagine if you needed to have open heart surgery, you wouldn't just think, oh, I'll just give it some time. You would find the best surgeon and get your treatment done as soon as possible because you know that your health depends on it and your life depends on it. So why do we hear so often that if we have a broken heart that we should just, give it some time? I meet so many women who think, well, if I just give it some time, maybe I'll feel better. But most of those women, when they start giving it some time, they're just mending tending their heart, but really staying stuck. And a lot of times their former partner is already out there dating and maybe already out there in a relationship. So a lot of women I talk to who are divorced or have gone through a heartbreak, their ex is already remarried or with someone else. And I don't want that to happen to you. So I want to bust the myth that time is what it takes to heal a wound. Just like anything else in life, skill is what it takes to heal a wound. And one of the key skills to have to get through heartbreak is grit. So I'm going to talk about what that is in a minute. But first, I'm curious. How long do you think it takes to get over an ex? Maybe you think it's 6 months, maybe you think it's 3 months, maybe you think it's 5 years. I'm curious, how long do you think it takes to get over an ex? And what has been typically the longest time or the average amount of time that you've taken in between relationships? So I know that there were times in between relationships that I took off like a year, and then times when I only took off a few weeks. And I have clients who have been single for 8 years and then gotten into a great relationship, and clients that have been single only a few weeks and then have gotten into a great relationship. So it's just not true that it just takes time to mend heartbreak. What you really need is to have grit, like I was mentioning earlier. And what is grit? So we have grit when we hire a personal trainer for our health. We have grit when we get up in the morning to pray, even though we would rather sleep in. We have grit when we help our child with their math homework one more time instead of telling them like, oh, forget about it, you can just get your teacher to help you. So we have grit in so many areas of our life, but a lot of times we forget to have grit when it comes to dating and love. So we lack dating resiliency that it takes to get over an ex and get into the next great relationship. Because if you think about the relationship of your dreams, it's probably not something that's just going to happen if you're sitting on the couch. It's not something that's just going to happen if you're feeling really sad, listening to all those old country songs. What I used to do is on Friday nights, I would eat Yogurtland, and I would sit in the parking lot watching sad YouTube videos, crying and eating Yogurtland. So I have totally been there, but I wish that I had known then what I know now and what I realized and developed over time, which is that it's really important to have this dating resiliency and have this grit so that you're not just hoping that things change and then feeling sorry for yourself. And I know that might be a little bit harsh. So if you're going through a breakup, I have so much compassion for you. I know how devastating it is to lose someone that you're in love with, or to get super close to someone only to have them pull back, or to feel like in your head and in your heart, like, oh my gosh, this is the one, and then have him break up with you. So I've gone through lots of breakups and I totally get it. But you don't have to stay stuck. You can develop that dating resiliency and that grit so that you have the relationship that you want. And the best thing about having grit or having dating resiliency is that it's super sexy. It's actually really attractive when a woman has this grit and has this tenacity. And the reason why is because she's not giving all of her power to someone from the past. Someone who said, hey, I don't want to be in your life anymore. Doesn't really make any sense for us to be putting all of our energy towards that person. One of my friends used to say, hey, when you're going through a breakup, you just lost someone who actually didn't really care about you that much. And they lost someone, if they broke up with you, they lost someone who actually really loved them and really cared. So you haven't lost as much as you think you have. The way that it turns into more losses to not take steps to move forward, to not develop that dating resiliency. And what I find is that men are really attracted to women who are confident and women who are resilient, who haven't given their power away to an ex, who don't spend the whole first or second date talking about an ex, or who don't just stay at home, feeling this old flame. It's really important to keep moving forward and to have this resiliency because it's magnetic. Think about if there's someone going out for an interview for a job. If they're thinking, oh my gosh, they call me, I hope they pick me, I really need this job, this is going to be everything for me. That has a certain sort of energy that feels a little bit desperate. Whereas if you think about someone who's going out interviewing for jobs and saying, Yeah, I had a great interview. It was awesome. I have 3 more lined up in the next week. I know I'm going to land the most amazing job. It's going to deeply fulfill me. They're going to be really lucky to have me. Brought that same approach to our dating life. I'm not saying dating is like a job, because relationships are very different than work and business. But if we had that same sort of confidence and that same sort of tenacity and that same sort of grit, then we would exude a different sort of energy that would be much more attractive. Now, there's a caveat to this, and that is that some men are rescuers and they really love the damsel in distress. Hi, Trina. So if you are one of those women who have tended to attract men mainly when you've been really down on your luck or when you've been in a place of great need, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not blaming you for that. But a lot of times men who are rescuers, who want to just swoop in and help a woman who's down on her luck and help rescue this damsel in distress, once you're back in your power, once you've built a relationship with them, once you're on your feet again, which is what I want for you, then they're off to rescue someone else. So you want to attract someone who's you on your gift and not on your pain. A lot of times, of course, we have similar wounds to our partner, similar ways that we need to be loved, but it's so much more fulfilling when you meet on your gift instead of on your wound, instead of on your pain. And that's why it's important to not just blanket everything with time heals all wounds, because A, you're going to be waiting a long time, and B, because just because time has passed doesn't mean that the deep healing to change your patterns has actually happened. So if you're just joining, the myth is that time heals all wounds, but the truth is that skill heals all wounds. And the skill that you need the most when you're getting over a breakup is to have grit, or this dating resiliency, this ability to get past your fear of falling in love again and get back out there. But not just by downloading the apps, but by getting the support, the mentorship, and the skills that you need in order to date effectively, to heal rapidly, and to change your patterns. So I'm curious if anyone who's watching this right now or watching the replay later is currently getting over someone. Have you gone through a breakup? Or maybe there's an ex from the past that you just keep thinking about. This is the time of the year we approach the holidays where people from the past just kind of pop into our awareness. We think of old memories. We think about the upcoming holidays and like, oh man, I was there at Thanksgiving with my ex last year, or I was at my ex's place, for Christmas. So if you're going through that reminiscing that sometimes happens in the fall, I want you to put that aside. I want you to develop the resilience and grit in order to move forward. And the second reason that the grit is really important, this dating resiliency, this tenacity, this getting our power back, is because when we apply that to our love life, we actually see that enhance the other parts of our life too. So earlier I talked about dating grit, the grit that we feel when we're willing to open our heart again, willing to get back out there again, willing to be open to love again. Then we have that same tenacity in our careers. So most of my clients either get new, promotion, a surprise bonus. One of my clients right now has 2 job offers in New York City, which is like one of the hardest places to get a job and one of the most sought after places to get a job. And they're both offers she's thrilled about, because she's in her power, because she knows what she wants, because she's healed her wounds, and she has healthy boundaries without turning really cold or really hard. So when we get into this place of resiliency, it affects and helps every area of our life. And one thing you might not know is that a lot of times for women, when we don't have the love and when we don't have someone to give our heart and give our love to, we can feel less fulfilled. And this is not just for women, this is for men too. But typically for what I see is that when women are in a thriving partnership and when they have community and support, then they can take even more progress in the other parts of their life. Versus when we just put all of our energy into our career and we don't have friend support and we don't have community support and we don't have a thriving partnership, then a lot of times we can start feeling parched, like dried out or kind of hungry for something else, something more fulfilling. So if you're watching this, I encourage you to get the skills and support that you need to heal your wounds in a way that it's effective and not just waste your time hoping that time will heal it. And that includes getting mentorship to help you see the places where you give up on yourself. So when we don't have the grit or the resiliency, we talk ourselves out of going on a date or going to a great meetup. We tell ourselves that we'll just give it another month, or that we need better online pictures, or that we need, for it to be a different time of year, or that we don't have the right clothes to wear to a date. We can make all sorts of excuses when we're lacking this resiliency. When we have resiliency and grit when it comes to dating, We're unstoppable. No excuse can stand in our way. We know that we're a woman of love with gifts to give, with love on our heart, with a deep capacity to receive love from a really high quality, authentic person and to build a great relationship. So wishing you tons of tenacity and grit. And if you want support in figuring out how to become more resilient in your dating life in order to have the love that you want, then I would love to connect. We offer 45-minute breakthrough to love sessions with me or my team. And it's a great way to understand where you might be giving up on yourself, what you actually need in order to heal your heartbreak, and what it is that you want. I'll put the link in the comments, and I look forward to connecting soon. Mwah. Have a great night.